揽在怀，只要路在脚下。
You might have guessed it, but this week we are going to China. We will behave like a classic tourist this first trip. We will see the sights, we will try and commentate if there's something worth doing, and then we will come back to do the more crazy stuff next year. Da jeg den første Didin så langt på turen. Dette blir bra. Beijing inntatt. Nå er det på tide å ta over Kina. Hvem er klare? Jeg er. First impressions are good. The streets are clean, everybody's friendly. I got myself a sick hotel for barely no money. So this one I paid about $28, which I think is quite good for being central Beijing. With the heated toilet seat and everything. Gotta love it. Now let's go out and catch some food before we start doing the touristy stuff. But what's up with these ones? Like covers for the e-bikes and scooters? Everybody in China uses them. Quite handy, so they do drive all year round, and you see thousands of them, literally. Welcome to Namok, the National Art Museum of China. Whether you're an art lover or just curious, this is definitely should be on your to-go list in Beijing. The museum was established in 1963 and it has more than 100,000 works of art. I mean, just take a look at these paintings here. The museum is free and you actually get to see kind of the change through history. So several of the paintings show like this, and this, the photorealistic one, is quite new. This reminded me of Romulus and Remus. A lot of paintings of big oil tankers. And of course the revolution. And what is a trip to Beijing without having some Peking duck? So this is where my hotel was. And this is the water machine for the local residents. And now I welcome you to the Summer Palace in Beijing. China's most exquisite imperial garden and a masterpiece of Chinese landscape and architectural design. You absolutely have to go here when in Beijing. So it was first constructed in 1750 and it's most famous for what you see around me, the Kunming Lake, which is an insane piece of artificially man-made lake. But to truly understand the significance of the Summer Palace, we kind of have to go back to the turbulent chapter in Chinese history known as the Opium Wars. So these were mid 19th century conflicts between Qing dynasty and Western powers, primarily the British. So the first Opium War, basically China said don't sell opium in China, and the Brits said we kind of need to because we need money for buying tea, and the Chinese got absolutely battered. So this ended up with the Treaty of Nanking, forcing the cession of Hong Kong and opening the ports to foreign control. This is, if I'm not mistaken, known as like the Great Sorrow. But this was just the beginning of the end. So it's during the Second Opium War that basically half of the Summer Palace got smashed during the ransacking by Anglo-French forces invading Beijing. And in revenge for Chinese resistance, they looted and they burned down most of the place. And this destruction is symbolic for the humiliation of the Qing dynasty and basically led to further internal weaknesses in China. But thankfully, in the decades to come, Empress Dowager Cixi undertook controversial but important efforts to restore the Summer Palace,
Grove båter, ass.
diverting critical navy funds for its reconstruction. And what visitors like me experience today largely stem from this 19th century rebuilding. The palace's restored splendor rising from the ashes of wartime calamities. I'm sorry you probably can't see this clearly, but this is the baller ass steamboat that Emperor Cixi got from the Japanese. It's called the Younghae, and this was in 1907. So basically, after that, the Empress Dowager Cixi would just pimp around on the waterways of the Summer Palace and probably enjoy herself, you know? And as you probably learned about in school, here they got a small exhibit showing you like how the silkworm produces silk, and also why it was this valuable back in the day. So you see the tiny cocoons they make, and then you slice them open, you process the outside, and you end up with some high quality fibers. Like this, and then if you're really lucky, you can wear the Emperor's yellow. Black swans, never ever have I seen before, but this is a Beijing thing. the Summer Palace. It's open year round. And online, they say visitors should note like seasonal challenges affect accessibility. So winter could pose challenge as icy pathways and cold conditions might arise. It was quite cold as you see when I was there, but honestly the pathways and everything are quite good. The only thing I was missing was to take a boat out on the lake. And as you see, even if there's less people here in the winter, it's still quite crowded in the most famous spots. From my China videos, you will see a lot of this, like Chinese people dressing up in old emperor's clothes and such in all of the monuments. It took me some time to getting used to, but honestly, it's hilarious. insane looking, this Kremlin. There's always a lot of people trying to get the best shot here in China, but it's a little funny as well. Just see the good side in it. If you decide to be a classic tourist, this is what you get. But the view is still quite nice though. Just take a moment to appreciate how insane these jade carvings are. So this is carved out of stone.
By the command of Her Imperial Majesty, also called the Compassionate and the Blessed, the Respectful and the Long-Living, the Empress Dowager commands, Aisin-Joro Puyi, son of Prince Tread, shall be transferred immediately to the Forbidden City and will remain in the Great Within, awaiting Her Majesty's decision. Respect this!
Look at the Forbidden City.
Oh,
So the Forbidden City in Beijing has been the residence for 24 emperors, and it began under the Ming Dynasty. So its construction began in 1406, and formally it was moved into in 1420. It's quite a spectacle to be there, to be honest. Even if there is a lot of tourists, then honestly you get over it. It's kind of a bucket list. You need to go there, and especially like you will see throughout this vid that like the movie The Last Emperor always stuck with me. Definitely a movie that you should see if you have not seen it yet. I was there during the winter season, and I think including the extra tickets for the special kind of treasury museum part, I paid about $8, maybe $9. So honestly, not a bad price. You will need an entire day to cover the grounds, though. And the entire complex covers about 178 acres, and it contains honestly hundreds of buildings and thousands of rooms, so it's quite comprehensive. The name the Forbidden City, of course, comes from the fact that no ordinary people was allowed to enter, and that the only men that were allowed to be there after dark were either the emperor or eunuchs.
Give him to me.
How small you are. Are you afraid of me? Everyone is. I am the Grand Empress Dowager, and I have lived here for a long, long time. And they call me the old Buddha. This is Peony. Do you like her? Men, you know, are not allowed in the Forbidden City after dark. Even little men like you. The only man who can live here is the Emperor.
And the level of craftsmanship and details on most of the artifacts are completely insane.
But the Emperor is on high, riding the dragon now. He died today. Longevity. These other men, they're not real men. They are all eunuchs. And now they are all waiting for me to die. That is why they are putting my bed in the middle of the room, under the black pearl.
And these big bronze vats that you can see all over the palace area are used to store water. And back in the day, it was for the fire prevention. So if a fire breaks out, you always have water close by that you can pour on. Historically, it hasn't been that easy when fire has broken out, though.
They're turning away. Of course, ordinary people are not allowed to look at the Emperor. I'm too important. Is it true that you can do whatever you want?
Of course I can. If I am naughty, someone else is punished. One of them.
Stop!
The Emperor will walk. I have never met other children. Are they all like you?
I've got 3 sisters and 2 friends. If you come to our house, you can play with us.
The Emperor never leaves the palace.
We play games together.
I know a game too. Run!
And this is the Emperor's calligraphy studio or calligraphy equipment. So as you can see here, you see the brushes, and of course you have the ink stone and the ink sticks to make the ink, and the bamboo paper. This desk was just so cool with natural sticks and yeah, just a unique piece. And to get like the sunset out in these open areas with the buildings in the background, it's totally fabulous. So honestly, if you ever go to Beijing, even if it's crowded, even if it's a lot of people, you have to go and see the Forbidden City. And then afterwards you can do the local authentic stuff you want to do.
Am I the Emperor or not?
Your Majesty will always be the Emperor.
You see?
Prove it.
Bigfoot. Drink it. Go on, drink the green ink.
I will show you.
各位观众，现在距离闭馆时间还有半个小时，请大家抓紧时间参观。请大家抓紧时间参观。
Once again, thank you guys for following my adventures. Really appreciate it. If you got the extra time, click the like, hit the subscribe, and honestly, just wait for 2026 when the big adventures begin.
See? That is a car. He's the president of the Republic.
Why is this wall here, Lord Chamberlain?
It is just a wall, Your Majesty. Nothing has changed.
You are lying.
Today we are going to a guest house close to the Great Wall of China to relax and have an easy couple of days to just take in the environment. First thing the host shows me at the guest house, this was his pet. Nice guy, he had built it with his wife. His wife made the food, quite good food to be honest. And they told me to smoke inside the rooms as well. Quite a decent hotel room as you can see. And this is me and the owner on the outside of the guest house. So I would say go there and stay. Here we are at the Gubaiko part of the Great Wall of China. It's one of the less restored parts, but it gives it kind of a more... It gives it a more solo vibe. Really cool trains in China as well. The day I was up at the wall, I only met like 2 other people. The 4 or 5 hours I went walking there. Was a little sketch because it's not restored, so you have to watch your step. But definitely going back for a longer walk along the Great Wall. So Gubaiko in Chinese means Ancient North Pass, and it's one of the more important chokeholds or choke points that the Chinese had to protect against the Mongolians. It's also the part that really protects the entrance into Beijing, which has always been, or almost always been, an important city. if you got the time, please subscribe, click like. I would appreciate the help going forward. This is the musical road on the way to Gubai Water Town. This was my first meeting with well-meaning Chinese people, but they tried to show me something they think I want to see and not what I want to see. So basically, the owner of the guest house said, I need to go and check out this ancient city that's close by called Gubai Water Town. And then, like, when I get there, it's filled with Starbucks and performances, and it's quite expensive place. So I have to do some Googling, and of course, it's like completely built in 2014. I get it for like a family with small kids or so, but it did feel like a cash grab, and yeah, not a good experience. I'll show you some of the clips. It's nice for photos, but honestly, not what I travel for. This was, however, one of the cooler things you could see there, which is the distillation process and storage for baijiu, the Chinese liquor that is everywhere, and that I started to get quite a liking for over in China. The most famous brand, of course, being Mao Tai. Baijiu is a liquor made out of sorghum. And they had like a hot spring. Of course, it's just heated water, but everybody was taking foot baths there, so I figured in the cold, why not, while killing some hours there before going back to the guest house. I was not in a good mood at this point, to be honest. This turned out to be the most expensive meal I had in all of China. And honestly, I just couldn't deal with the place anymore. Was nothing to do close to the guest house, so I figured let's go back to Beijing and explore some cool art district instead. This is the way I had to order my food in China most of the times. Just take a photo, ring around, and show it to the people, and hope for the best. This guy, for some reason, was just lighting a big fire in the streets. So, a little weird tendencies in China. These ones are more cool though, but you saw them everywhere in China, playing hacky sack, and the old ladies that came out at night to dance. I had to drown my sorrows in some baijiu. I do not recommend this brand. It's quite cheap, not really that good tasting.
我可以控制灯光、窗帘、电视、空调。
So we are going to the art zone, which is the art district. They had some cool old carriages. They have like what I would call a lot of street art, as you will see. Some people would call it graffiti, but it did have quite a commercial kind of vibe to it. Lots of expensive cafe lattes and such. Like, I would rather advise you to go to the one in Chengdu instead, because the one in Chengdu seems more local and authentic. But if you're into like seeing where Calvin Klein, Dior, etc. have had their catwalks, then the art zone in Beijing is definitely the place to be. And it's a cool one-day hang if you're in the area. After the art district, I felt I needed to go back to the hutongs. There you see all the old guys just playing either mahjong or this game or another game. It's quite a cool vibe, I gotta say. Beijing in December is quite beautiful, but do remember to bring a big jacket. And what is China without pandas? Thank you guys for watching. Today we are going on another adventure here in China. I got a little sick of Beijing, so I decided to get myself a ticket for the night train to Xi'an. It was a 14 or 15 hours train ride, and from my experience in China, definitely go for the slow trains. There you have the eating carriages, you get some of the old grandeur, and you actually get to meet the locals. In comparison to on the high-speed trains, where it's either insanely rich people or tourists. Another nice thing is, of course, that the middle aisle in the train is a smoking room, as you see. Honestly, great stuff, but this stuff is a little janky to have on a train, to be honest. Time to go to bed. This is when we were waking up. As you see, there's 3 beds in the height, so just be aware. A lot of snoring, but honestly quite a decent bed. And the workers are cleaning the floors before we are reaching Xi'an. As you see, my morning face is on. Of course, the issue with traveling and not having the hotel ready is that you have to wait until 12. So I arrived at like 5:30 or 6 in the morning in Xi'an, and I managed to find an open 24/7 pool club right away. So decided to catch some games with the locals before continuing my day. Of course, also smoking inside here. Saw these guys painting like a wall in the city, so it was nice to see some creative output while being there. And then I got my head shaved in the Muslim quarter. Everywhere in China you will just see these old people doing Tai Chi, Kung Fu, or whatever you want to call it in the parks. But like the shop names and the translations make no sense in China. The legendary hotel, room 311, quite a decent price for the room, I have to say. So $20 gives you all of this in Xi'an. I thought it was going to be more expensive, but a great hotel, great service. I enjoyed my stay here a lot. Kinesisk samosa, tror jeg. Nydelig. And the guys kept working all day, it seems, so I walked past later in the day and this is how far they had reached. But then, of course, the main reason to go to Xi'an for most people, myself included, is to see the terracotta warriors in the mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of the Qin dynasty. So I started my visit at the East Gate, which is where the emperor is buried, but where they have done the least amount of excavations. So not where the huge amounts of warrior statues are, but they did have these insane bronze, I don't know, statues, chariots, that you, if you want to call them, that was on display. And to just imagine that these are over 2,000 years old, older than Jesus, is quite insane. Because when you think about it, the site is thought to be built around or started in 246 BCE, so 250 years kind of before Jesus, and it only took them 40 years to build it. But it's supposed to have been like 700,000 or 800,000 workers building it, because all of the statues are unique. That's the insane part of it. And if you like to go down a conspiratory rabbit hole, then check out like the stuff about the rivers of Mercury and such that is rumored to be in the emperor's grave. But like, as you know, it's China, so you see all of the people. Now I'm getting more into the more famous pits. So there's different pits with different kind of soldier units or military units, and like the amount of people, even if I was there in the low season, was quite overwhelming, to be honest. So it's a thing I think you should go and see once, but honestly, it's really, yeah, overwhelming. You can't get any time for yourself. So when you go, do remember to visit like the bronze chariots and the like mausoleum of the true emperor, because there you will have at least less people to contend with. This is one of the major pits or halls where you have the soldier statues. So you see it's just rows upon rows upon rows of statues of warriors, carpenters, of everything you need for an invading army. Quite breathtaking, to be honest. And to think it has been in the ground for over 2,000 years and they just found it in 1974. So we basically only had like 50 years to excavate it. They're still excavating, and it's quite a massive and jaw-breaking monument, to be honest. And after a day walking around here, I was honestly just tired of culture and national monuments. So I bargained for a taxi. This is about right. As you see, it's quite cheap to take a taxi in Xi'an. So yeah, about $14 to get back, and quite the distance. After that, I honestly decided to just drink a little, eat a little, and get fucked up and see the city, you know? Enough culture. And then I saw this hilarious street hustler. Like, I have not seen anything like this in Europe. And his potting accuracy was insane. I tried my luck a couple of times at the table, but it was too hard, to be honest. Time to get some food. First time eating hot pot in China. Just like a normal, cheap kind of street vendor with a small space. Met some guys there. They offered some shots, so didn't feel much, but a great experience. A little on the expensive side, but you do get to pick and choose. I just picked the most expensive ingredients. And then after eating, time to get fucked up. Time to try the baijiu I bought in Beijing. And then time to go and play some pool or snooker. Do notice this brand, because I tried to find this again so many times. It's the best baijiu I have ever tasted. It honestly beats Maltai with like an insane margin. Bottoms up. And in advance, I apologize for what you're going to see next. I let it rip this night. And honestly, the club I went to, it felt a little stuffy, so I decided to go back to the place I found when leaving the train. Because there you could bring your own drinks and food from 7-Eleven. It's cheaper, it seemed more fun, and the people weren't as uptight. You know you're drunk when you're eating like barbecue mystery meat from a stick in the pool hall. Yeah. And just in case I wasn't fucked up enough, I bought some more drinks, some candy, and fattig kork. Se nå. Sånn. Sånn. Jävla 50-talsdrit, altså. And decided to have a party in the shower while eating more mystery meat from a stick. Welcome to our last episode here from China. As you can see, I'm still quite hungover after yesterday's shenanigans, but we have to keep on moving. Today we are taking the high-speed train to Chengdu, going for some modern high life. And I couldn't help myself, so I booked us into the America Hotel. Decent as most other hotels I've been to here in China. Smoking indoors as most other hotels here in China. As you can see, there's an ashtray on the table when you come inside. And today we have gone to Chengdu. It's actually the only city in China that still kept its name for over 2,000 years. And it's the place for hot pot and high tech. It's not like high tech like Shenzhen, but they definitely live in the future here. the streets of Chengdu, just walking, getting some street food, seeing the vibe. As you can see, there's like Apple stores, Huawei stores, Dior, Omega, everything in the center. But one of the reasons I actually went to Chengdu was I was told that it's one of the places that actually do have kind of a street art and graffiti scene in the U37 compound, as you will see a little later. This is of course the bougie part of town, and then I was quite amazed by this jumbo billboard that was in like 3D, so it looked like the panda was coming out of the screen. And McDonald's seemed to go with the panda theme as well. Outside of Chengdu there's actually wild pandas, but we finally reached the U37. As you can see, it's kind of one of the places that's kept its charm and not only going for the high rises, lots of stickers and everything. And then I find the street art shop in a couple of minutes. They had an insane selection of cans, domestic and foreign brands. So we had to go and try and have a little fun. And one painting I also saw these jugs that is used to make baijiu out of sorghum. So obviously some of the locals actually make it at home as well. Finally found some proper snooker tables. One of the employees decided to play with me, so it was fun. He wasn't the best though. And like on all of the footwalk bridges, you had these bicycle paths, and literally all of the takeaway drivers would use them with their scooters, sometimes get into arguments with the other scooters that wanting to go down. Quite sketchy, but it's one of the ways the city goes around, I guess. And as you see, he's having quite an issue to get up there. It's not made for that bike originally. Decided to test some oysters and a couple of other street art dishes, and then go hit the sack. But first I saw so in one of the barber shops that were open 24/7, they had a pool table, and everywhere in the world you have homeless people. I was just a little amazed about them being allowed to be in the bougie part, but that's actually quite nice in China. The cigarettes, however, I could not get used to, so I kept on trying new brands. Chengdu was not a city for me. They confiscated the spray cans when I wanted to go on the train, because in China it's like going on a plane. I decided to get my ass closer to the border, so now it's time to go to Kunming. And in Kunming, it was much more of a laid back vibe. So I really enjoyed that city and kept staying a couple of extra days. This is the view from the hotel room. A little pick me up before we go out and get some food. All of the streets I saw in Kunming were a little more grimy than in cities like Xi'an or Chengdu, and that's probably because there's way less tourists. But I actually enjoyed that part of it because it does feel a little more authentic, and also the prices. The prices were unbeatable, so cheap. Kunming is the tea capital of the world and of China. It has the world's largest tea markets, and I actually picked up an interest for tea while being there and ended up buying way too much. But hey, some people might consider it an investment. Honestly, these chicken legs were just amazing. I bought them several days.
It's a tag hurt. Apparently, serial number relates to Dubai. I don't know if that means anything to you. I hope it does.
I think I bought it in Dubai airport.
Oh, there you go. That's corroboration.
Dominate.
In it though about 5 years ago. I don't collect anything anymore. In fact, selling most of my memorabilia.
Because you had my spitting image puppet as well.
I did. You got it back, haven't you?
I've got it back now, yeah.
I don't know how you managed that, 'cause I sold it to geese in Cambridge. It's surreptitious. See, nothing changes.
And since we're soon leaving China, I wanted to get in my fair share of duck while still being here and having the... the world's largest tea market. Here I am. This is Kunming's tea market. Honestly, it's a maze of warehouses and tiny shops. It's where Yunnan's famous teas are traded before they go global. So you have the pu'ers and all of this, as I will show you. Honestly, inside every corridor, it's lined with sacks, boxes, walls of compressed tea, cakes, loose tea, tea resins. As you see, different styles of cakes, different styles of transportation. It's honestly a little overwhelming. And it's shop upon shop upon shop. So you have everything here from raw and ripe pu'er, Yunnan black tea, delicate green teas, whole shelves of teapots and gaiwans. You got the oolongs. It's honestly too much to recount. So I just ended up walking around in amazement for most of the time. And then, of course, trying to taste a little. A tip, because this is a market mostly for like wholesalers. It's not really that many people just buying a tiny piece, and usually not too many foreigners. So definitely do haggle. I would never start less than half of the asking price, to be honest. I did end up buying a couple of kilos of tea while here because the prices were unmatched, and to start to build some relationships with a couple of the vendors. As you see, it's just like ancient tea trees. It's everything you could ever imagine. So I would suggest that you either bring cash or you have to have Alipay or WePay. But honestly, like with cash, a couple of them really will go down further in price. And like Kunming is in the center of Yunnan, so for centuries everybody would bring the tea that's produced around here, and that's where most of the tea in the world is produced, and get them to the market to be able to sell. I'm just going to give you a little time to just enjoy the maze and overwhelming indeed. So as you can see, I ended up buying quite a bit of tea. I also had a couple of more cakes. So if any of either my friends or followers wants a little tea or want to try, holla at your boy. I can probably provide. Last game of pool in Kunming before we go to the train tomorrow morning for a long third-class train to the border town. As you can see, the third class, I was hoping for a dining cart. There was no dining cart on this train, even if it was like, I think, a 6-hour train or so. But the people were really cool and nice. So that's what I enjoy, as I stated earlier, by taking the third class old school style train, is you actually get to connect and vibe with the locals. And they do have hot water, as they do on all Chinese trains, so no problem to make a cup of noodles on the way. So, I got a love hotel.
Det skal ikke være så jævlig vanskelig, skjønner dere. Nabohotellet, ikke noe problem. Koster så å si det samme. De forstod frustrasjonen min med... Ja, dere vet hva dere så.
Thankfully, it wasn't too far to another hotel. They managed to check me in, and I had no other issues there.
Det her derimot, helt strålende, OK, billig budsjetthotell. Det er rent, det er pent, det er ingen kondomer. Virker loven.
One of the things I really noticed, though, is on the Chinese side, as you see here, there's barbed wire all along the river embankment, while on the Vietnamese side, there's no barbed wire. So that kind of tells you a thing or two about who wants to go where, I would say. One thing I definitely will not miss in China is the way people both spit and gargle in public. And at this point, after being 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks in China, honestly, I'm a little tired of it. Can't wait to go to Vietnam and to hopefully meet some people that speak English. It's been a little isolating being a place where so few people do speak English. Please. Hello. Good day. Ja, det er en grensekrysning da. Tid å komme seg over til Viet. Dette blir bra. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, subscribe. See you next week.